So, Mark, we're expecting the Prime Minister to head off around Europe in the next few days.
Yes, he was on this levelling up tour up north today and decided to cut that short to come back down to London. We're told that he's going to chair a full meeting of the Crisis Cabinet Cobra tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then after that, probably the next day, he's going to be heading off to Baltic and Nordic countries to express the UK support for those countries that are understandably quite concerned about what's unfolding on the border of Ukraine at the moment. A lot has been made of this US intelligence warning. Now, they are saying that Wednesday is an optimum time as far as they're concerned. They're not necessarily saying that war is going to happen on Wednesday, but their intelligence assessment is that all of the forces, all of the assets that Vladimir Putin needed to get into place over recent months are now there. The ground troops, the artillery, the tanks, the medical support teams, same with the naval military assets in Crimea, Russian Air Force. All of those assets are in place so that come Wednesday is the assessment of the US intelligence services. If Vladimir Putin decided to push the button to go, then they could.
Yeah, I mean, they've pretty much got Ukraine encircled, haven't they, from Belarus right the way round to the Crimea. The other school of thought was that actually, if he was going to invade, he wouldn't do it until there'd been a sort of spell of prolonged cold weather and hard, frosty ground, because that pretty heavy mechanised gear could struggle.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty muddy and awful terrain there that he would have to negotiate with his heavy artillery and tanks. And, of course, Ukraine's not going to be any sort of easy win for him. There is a standing army of 250,000, reservists up to 300,000, and we've seen the pictures that have been coming out today. These are the pictures, obviously, of Russian forces training, but we've seen a much lower-level affair where men and women, some women in their late 70s and 80s, are training to use weapons. They will fight. Many will fight. It will be a bloody affair. But, of course, we don't know what the calculus is in Vladimir Putin's head. Does he want concessions? Clearly he wants concessions. What would he be satisfied with?
Well, I think...
Is it this expression...
He's made it clear, hasn't he, really? Yeah. I mean, it's about NATO.
I don't think he could get that public declaration, though. If there are assurances made on the quiet to Vladimir Putin, maybe that might be enough. But then again, he's mistrustful of the West because he says that Russia was given these assurances after the fall of the Soviet Union that there would be no eastward expansion of NATO. And then what did we get? We got 14 Eastern European countries that joined NATO in the years since the fall of the Soviet
the EU and NATO kind of expanding together, really ever eastwards. And in many ways, the European countries looking pretty divided on this. Germany, clearly, with its reliance on gas, taking a much softer position than everybody else. And this extraordinary idea that surfaced today that the UK should be invited to join some new sort of European Security Council.
Yes, well, indeed. I mean, as far as the Europeans are concerned, they obviously, I think they've always recognised that, you know, in Europe, the UK is the foremost military power. I mean, there's France, but actually, in terms of assets, then you are really looking at the UK and the ability for expeditionary warfare. Yes, I mean, I think...
we miss you. That's what they say. We miss Brexit Britain.
Well, I think the UK would actually quite like to assume that rather important position as well, if we're wrong.
Well, if we're going to chair it, then maybe that's right.